and where I find a lot more of my excitement is these days is the inner relationship.
Mm.
Because even for most of us, even right now, if someone says relationship, for most people, the immediate thought is someone else, right? It's my connection with another person, my relationship with them, right? And that's great, right? We're humans, we love connection. It's what we're all about. And at the same time, and I think this has been a thread that we've seen through our conversation, is that if a person isn't known to themselves, if I don't actually know who I am, if I don't have a sense of what's happening here and a sense of inner relationship, knowing where, if I don't have an inner dialogue with myself, if I can't ask myself questions and get some have some dialogue happening here and some understanding and some access to a wisdom that is not from here, but is much deeper, it's going to be really difficult for me to actually not only relate, but if we're talking about conscious relating, that's really difficult.
Mm.
You know, and it's not to say we can't do them at the same time, right? It's not to say
Yeah.
we have, like, stop being in relationships until I figure my stuff out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely done that, for a period of time, and that, like, it's all right. It's not very fun, you know.
Mm.
It can be useful, um, but my point being that there is what I believe something intrinsic to the proportion of intimacy I can have with someone else to the intimacy I have with myself. And so more and more my work today is really the inner work.
Mm.
Especially when I'm working with men, it's really based around, you know, who are we as men? I believe today there's so many things. I feel like I'm going to go on a soapbox a little bit here, just to warn
No,
you.
no, no. Carry on.
I feel like there's so many ideas that are out there around what it's supposed to be, about what we're supposed to be as men. We see things, we're told things, we're shown things from people that are close to us, we're expected to be a certain way, all this stuff, right? Well, you know, if there's one thing that I know, or one thing that I do believe, is that as men, especially in a world that's trying to tell us how we're supposed to be,
Mm.
is that we really do get to choose how and what kind of man we want to be in the world.
Mm.
But here's the key. Here's what's important is that we do, part of that is choosing. Because if we don't choose how I want to be, if I'm not intentional about that, then there's a really good chance that how I act, how I think, what comes through me is from society. It's a program from society. It's something that was given to me. It's something that was imprinted upon me. And there's a reason why there's so many people, men and women, but especially with men, that walk around feeling just a little bit disconnected, feeling like there's something not totally okay. And some of us may have the words for that. I may be able to describe my experience like I feel
Sure.
strange,
Yeah.
right? But for most of us that weren't given the tools or the awareness of how to talk about our inner experience,
Mm.
I just feel weird. I'm gonna go do something about it. I'm gonna go, I don't know, hit something or drink something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that's the pattern. So what's important is that if we are choosing to have conscious relationships, we must choose to be conscious and intentional about our own relationship.
Mm.
And from that place, once we have that inner relationship, now I can come into an intentional relationship with someone else, knowing that what I'm bringing is me, or as much of me as I can, that
Sure.
I'm in
Sure.
process with,
Sure.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And that is what leads. And if two people are doing the same thing, right, where they're coming to the table with their intention, with their vulnerability, with their authenticity, with their humanity,
Mm.
right, there's a lot of what I'll call soulful intimacy that can come from that. And
Mm.
it's the kind of intimacy that is, yeah, that I really believe that we're all innately seeking.
Mm.
Mm.
And I'm resonating really so much with what you're saying. It really starts with the individual, both men and women, really choosing what part of us would we like to show a lot more to ourselves and to others around us. And yeah, doing that inner work. So many people get into, this is what also happened in a couple of episodes before when we were talking about this, is people get into relationships because I feel that they're being a little bit pressured, society constructs and the expectations of, yeah, let's get into into relationship and eventually get married, have children. Nobody really, I mean, not that many people, obviously we're in this kind of community, but not that many people talk about the inner work that each and every one of us should do before getting into a relationship, right? I kind of say this to some of my friends, that there's like 3 stages of relationship, right? What was it? Codependent relationship, with when 1 + 1 = 1.5, right? One is the codependent on the other. Then there's a independent relationship, 1 + 1 = 2. You have 2 people that are kind of sort of independent, let's say. But then you have a third stage, which is interdependent, when 1 + 1 = 11, right? You have your life and you've dealt with your inner work and you have a social circle and the same thing for you. But when we come together, just magic happens. And I think this is something that is not talked enough about. So I'm very grateful that you're doing this type of work, because it's so needed, man.